Welcome, my name is John, and I'm just here to discuss movies on the YT. And if you'd like to join that discussion, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as well to stay up to date on my channel. And I've been doing a monster movie review series over the past couple of months. I've reviewed every movie in the MonsterVerse, even a few other Godzilla and King Kong movies. So check those out if you're interested. But it's all been leading up to this Godzilla versus Kong. Initially, I had zero anticipation for this movie, but once the trailer dropped, it captivated me. It felt like there was something special about this movie once that trailer dropped, and it looked amazing. Plus, I have like weekly Fortnite sessions with my little brother to stay in touch with him, and every single week he's talking about how excited he is to see this movie, and he's always talking about some brand new toy that he bought from this movie, about this movie, and so it just made me get even more excited for it. But was it good? Let's talk about it. So in Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla starts to wreak havoc for reasons I can't really get into without spoiling the movie, and King Kong basically has to battle him until they end up coming together in the third act to face a third act villain, which I don't want to get into because I don't want to spoil it. I want this to be fairly spoiler-free review, except I might have some spoilers after my rating. And so starting off, the action in this movie is awesome. You've got the best monster fights out of any of these movies, and it's great. You get this visually stunning action, and it's all paced pretty well. They're all sprinkled throughout. And it's not just Godzilla versus Kong. It's Godzilla wreaking havoc on cities. That side is actually really good. And even with King Kong, where he goes throughout the movie, he gets some nice battles with other monsters throughout. And so you just really get some just awesome action throughout. And now on to the acting and the characters. As a whole, this is probably the weakest aspect for this entire franchise, the MonsterVerse. But I think this movie has the best characters as a whole. There might be one or two characters from previous movies that might be a little better. But as a whole, I think this movie has the best characters. Every character has clear motivations. All their decisions in the movie are in pursuit of their goals. It's not like King of the Monsters, where the characters just do stuff willy-nilly regardless of whether it helps them towards their goals or not. The one character that separates this movie apart from the rest, and mainly apart from the only other movie he's been in, is the character of Kong. If you look at my Kong Skull Island review, which as a whole I might have been a little too harsh on, but I still stand by the fact that Kong's character in that movie was just simply there to provide action and to be a protector of the island. You never got to really see the human side of Kong. You never got to see the heart of Kong in Skull Island. And as a major fan of King Kong, that kind of has always frustrated me with that movie. This movie, on the other hand, that is the best part about this movie. You really get to see the heart and the human side of Kong in this movie. And it really enhances the action in the movie, because without seeing that side of Kong, you don't get the more emotional impact that you get when he fights Godzilla and when he fights the third act villain. And now on to the visuals. It's also the most visually stunning movie in the MonsterVerse. You've got some great CGI in this movie, and even like the cinematography and the shots that you see in the movie, it does this really great job of blending this more toned down version of Skull Island's cinematography and imagery with the more neon like imagery that you got in King of the Monsters. It does a very nice job of blending them together and going back and forth between that, and it does a good job of with its lighting, so you can see even at nighttime with the neon aspects of Hong Kong, you can see the battles. And now on to the story and the writing. This is the one aspect where I don't entirely think it's quite the best in the franchise. It's extremely close and an extremely tight race, because I still think 2014's Godzilla is a lot better than people give it credit for. and it gets way too much hate. And there's a lot of thematic elements in that movie that no one ever talks about. But in terms of this movie, it doesn't quite have that thematic stuff that I think 2014's Godzilla, that I think gets overlooked in 2014's Godzilla. But I still think the story is actually pretty good. Like, there are things in there thrown in that you think is just like, for Eiza Gonzalez's character, there's like a line that just seems like she's bragging about something. But then the line, and it just feels like a throwaway line, but that line comes into play in the third act when it comes to the Kong's part of the third act. And it plays a big role in that. And so there's like nice small little things in there sprinkled throughout. And I think they do a good job of getting Kong and Godzilla together in their fight scenes and how that all happens. And I even think they do a good job because even though I am very much Team Kong, he's kind of like Batman. He's not the most powerful person out there, but he's got like the most brains. And therefore, I always think brains will beat bronze. And so I think they did a good job in this movie kind of making it to where Godzilla is like the most powerful, is easily more powerful than King Kong. But with the way they go about this movie, especially in like the second act and exploring the background of Kong, and they do a really good job of making it to making you see why Kong would definitely have a fighting advantage, possibly over a more powerful and nuclear-powered lizard. Now, my main issue with this movie is the fact that it does kind of feel a little rushed. It's the shortest movie in the MonsterVerse, and yet it tackles a lot more than at least Godzilla and Skull Island do. Maybe not King of the Monsters, but it tackles a lot in it, and yet it's the shortest in the franchise. And I just feel that mainly the third act villain side of the movie feels like there's something missing. It feels like there's like one scene missing, and I feel like I just need like 5 to 10 minutes closer to the 5-minute side just added on to the movie, and it would like enhance this movie a lot more for me. It just feels like there's some small explanation missing for that third act villain side of it. And now on to the sound. I think Junkie XL's score here is great. It enhances the movie a lot, and it brings a nice fun side to the movie. It's a very fun score that really enhances the action set pieces a lot. And even the sound mixing has moments that kind of stick out in a good way. Like when one moment in the third act when Godzilla and Kong like scream face to face at each other. And I just thought the sound mixing felt really good in that moment. So overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I think I'm going to give it a slightly higher score than most of the reviews I've seen. I just think it does such a great job with its monster action, with its score, and I just think it does a good job with the character of Kong. And when it comes to these movies, that's probably the most important aspect for me. You know, there might be some stuff on the Godzilla side that is less than desirable, but in terms of Kong, it gets it almost perfectly for me personally at least, even if there are some things that feel a little dumb in it. And so I very much enjoyed this movie, and so I think Godzilla vs. Kong deserves a 4 out of 5. And now a small spoiler section to just elaborate on why I think there should be 5-ish minutes added to this movie. And the main reason is when Mechagodzilla, I think the development of Mechagodzilla is all fine. That's all explained good enough with the Ghidorah skull and everything. But there's a Skynet moment where he becomes this AI Mechagodzilla. He kills the pilot and he kills his creator. He becomes his own, like, element. His own, like, being thing, Skynet-like. But you never fully get explained. You can kind of maybe imply that it was Ghidorah, the synapses of Ghidorah kind of taking over. But it never really gets explained or anything. It just happens. And that's something where I think just adding a little tiny bit to it, it's not going to slow the pacing down. It's not going to all of a sudden make it feel extremely dragged out. But just adding a little bit there, in my opinion, would extremely enhance the impact of Mechagodzilla. If you have seen Godzilla vs. Kong, go ahead and comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this review, go ahead and smash that thumbs up icon, smash that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell as well to stay up to date on my channel. Feel free to check out my previous monster movie reviews, and stay tuned for my MonsterVerse ranking, as well as a live-action King Kong ranking, and I will return next time when I see you again.